I'm on my way to prison. So you might notice that I'm wearing a little bit of different gear this fine morning. That's because it is 40 degrees and I have a date with the prison. I'm wearing my warmer weather gear. Well, I should have worn different shoes. The ground is a little slippery this morning, and I realized that I put my handlebar camera in the wrong spot. It's kind of flipped sideways right now, so I'll have to fix that one in post, I think. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to see you guys back at the prison.
One of the things that stands out in my mind about the Ohio Reformatory is its architecture. It kind of reminds me of an old English castle. It almost feels like it has something supernatural about it.
Lights out!
Walking up the stairs, it makes you feel like you're in the movie. You get to the top and you can go into the warden's office, or the room where Red and Brooks were paroled.
Ellis Boyd Redding, your files say you've served 40 years of a life sentence. You feel you've been rehabilitated?
One of the interesting things was Brooks' room was actually inside the prison.
I have trouble sleeping at night. I have bad dreams like I'm falling. I wake up scared. Sometimes it takes me a while to remember where I am.
It wasn't set up exactly the same as it was in the movie, but you kind of get the sense of how they decided to set everything up. Now, one of the original fixtures was the Brooks was here rafter, which was removed, and they reinstalled it later. Now, the chapel also doubled as the movie theater in the movie when Rhett's sitting there watching Rita Hayworth on the movie screen. Walking through, you kind of get a sense of where everything is, and you kind of picture it in your head of how, when the movie was playing, where everything was, where everybody was sitting and walking around the room. It's kind of weird to know that you were sitting in or standing in the same place that one of these actors was. You'll see later that there were actually 2 movies filmed at the penitentiary. One of them was Air Force One, but a lot of the areas are blocked off and you can't access them. But they do have some of the posters and memorabilia and things like that around. These are posters from the movie Air Force One when this was the Russian prison. This electric chair was actually from the Columbus Penitentiary. My mother-in-law was telling us stories about how the lights would dim when people would be executed in the chair. It's on loan. Walking through the prison, you get a sense of exactly how big this is. Later I'll say there's 4 stories, but there's actually 5 or 6, and depending on which wing you're in. Some of the cells had 2 to 4 bunk beds in them at a time, and you could just see how crowded and claustrophobic it would get. The reformatory was built in 1886 and closed in 1990. 4 years later, Shawshank was filmed here, and in 1997, Air Force One. At the time, the reformatory wasn't in bad shape, but in recent years, it's become kind of run down. There's still lead paint on the walls. The cells are rusting. Some of the doors have been removed, but they're in the process of restoring it. Most recently, the movie Escape Plan with Sylvester Stallone was filmed here. It does feel kind of claustrophobic walking through these. The rest of my group is behind me, but it's kind of crazy. So there's 4 stories, and the floor is kind of uneven, but there's like soft spots in the concrete too, which is kind of crazy. And they do ghost tours here in October. With all the stairs and catwalks and hallways, it's easy to get lost in here. So they'll have signs to guide you through as you kind of traverse everything.
I'm sure by now you've heard. Terrible thing. Terrible thing. Terrible thing. Terrible thing.
Solitaire area, they had all the doors removed from most of the cells, and you can see that they were actually normal cells except for the doors. You had no sunlight, and they couldn't be opened easily. The shower areas were interesting. It's where people experience the most paranormal activity. While I was recording, my battery for my camera went from 100% to 0. Some say that's a sign of the ghosts trying to speak with you.
Devoted an annual payment of $500.
The area where they had the library was kind of interesting because it was actually a clinic when the penitentiary was in operation.
Trade skills and hobbies goes under educational. Stack behind.
In one area, they actually had a formal classroom set up where people could study and learn new skills, and be productive members of society.
Not for shoelaces or a stick of gum. Now, you got that?
Wow, that was an experience. So apparently they filmed 2 movies at the reformatory. One was Air Force One, and the other is Shawshank. I did not know that they filmed Air Force One there. But I tell you what, the lighting in that place is amazing. Yeah, so I don't think I got a bad shot the entire time. Ghost Hunters actually did a Halloween special, like an episode there one time, so that's kind of neat. I guess ever since then people have been seeing ghosts all over the place there, so anyway. So yeah, that was awesome. So I had to lie a little bit because I did not ride all the way to Mansfield. I did say I wasn't going to ride at all this weekend, but yeah, I couldn't help it. It's so beautiful out. That and our car was pretty full of everybody, so I didn't, we had enough room in the van, but the wife picked up my daughters and their boyfriend, and I rode to my mother-in-law's house and picked her in the van up. So from there, we just went to Mansfield. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Again, super awesome experience.
I lost my way out of line. It's Sweden. Carpet, I go for a ride. Stitches, bleeding. But as I turned around, you were already gone. I was away from home.
Anyway, that's it for today's video. MOTOBEAR, keep the rubber side down.
So when you set your mind